Well, hello again, everyone, to everyone out there listening or watching or even reading whenever you get the transcript for this. LaTanya White here, entrepreneur, educator, and mentor, and just adding more content and putting you in touch with more fearless women, and we're all fearless in our own way. And the person we'll be talking to today is my very own publisher, yay, Miss Shanley McCray, who's also a Rattler, so go Rattlers there. Shanley is the owner of Opportune Publishing, and she is the one that literally helped me take becoming fearless from this pie in the sky idea to the book that'll be coming out in just a couple of weeks or so. So Shanley, welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So thank you for, responding to my text message. I know it seems random, but thank you for scheduling this time to be with me. So what I'm doing with this series on Fearless Women is really to demonstrate for other women of color, and especially entrepreneurial women of color, people that look like them, that are doing things that aren't as, I guess, traditional. They aren't the thing that we're used to seeing Black women entrepreneurs do, and also to demonstrate that there are opportunities to circulate the Black dollar. So tell us a little bit about Opportune. How did you get here? What were you inspired by that brought you to this place?
Okay, well, I started Opportune Publishing towards the end of 2014, so we're about to come up on our 2-year anniversary.
Yay.
And thank you. And, I always have been a writer. Like when I was in grade school, in college, as a Rattler, I wrote for different outlets, even post-grad in my grad school. I've always wrote for different online outlets, magazines, newspapers, things like that. And it led to me writing my first book, Choosing to Decide, which was very random. I actually started a story writing on my phone, and it just kind of turned into its own book. So my first book I self-published. I didn't know anything about publishing at all. I just knew I wanted to write this book, and I wanted to get it out to the world. So upon publishing it, the response that I got from everyone, like I told myself, get out of your head, just do it. Mm-hmm. Like everyone knew me as being a writer, but not necessarily an author. So I was a little bit fearful, but I did it anyway, and the response that I got from it was just amazing. Everyone who either loved writing or wanted to write but didn't know how to write a book per se, or people who wanted to publish a book and didn't know the first thing about doing it. And just so many people were asking me a lot of questions and asking about my experience, and I just got a lot of support, even from the sales of the book. So from all of that, I realized, okay, I'm not the only one who wanted to do this, and this can be something that people actually really need. So I thought about it, and I did just like what you did. I sent that random text message to my friend, Christina, and I said, hey, girl, I think I want to start a publishing company. And she was the perfect person to send that text to because she's always so amazing and supportive in everything that everyone does, really. So she was like, let's do it. I don't know what that means, but we're going to do it. So literally maybe a couple months later, I did a bunch of research and got in contact with a lot of people and just made sure if this was something I was going to do, I wanted to do it the right way. And I wanted to make sure it was something that I can be really proud of because I was hoping, this can be my new career. I was doing communications consulting at the time, and I wanted to stop doing that, quit my job and this be my full-time thing. So I did it. My first client, which is Dr. Katina Kennedy Davis, she had a project that she wanted to do, which is Let's Talk About Sex, and which is a book about STDs and talking to your child about sex for the first time. And that was my very first project. I published hers, and then from there, everything just poured in. Like I was getting emails and Facebook messages like, hey, I want to publish a book. And from then to now, I'm sorry?
No, I'm just enjoying the story.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy. So from then to now, we've published about almost 30 to 35 books. We have a couple being published in the next couple of weeks. So, like I said, we're coming up on our 2-year anniversary, and we're hoping it just grows from here.
I love it. I love it. So, the whole thing, and you know my story because you edited it, but
yes.
and understanding that I don't consider myself fearless, right? That's why it's becoming fearless, and that's a daily thing. But what fear did you face when you were transitioning to, starting your business in this way, and how did you overcome that?
I would say my biggest fear would be worrying about what other people thought, because I have people who are entrepreneurs in my family. My mom and my dad both own their own business, and I knew it was something that was obtainable, but I just wasn't sure if it was going to be successful. And, once you graduate school and you start your career, you adjust to a certain lifestyle, and I wasn't sure if this was going to be able to help me maintain that lifestyle. So that was my biggest fear of doing something, and it failed. Statistically, most businesses or small businesses, especially by African-American people, fail for a multiple of reasons, but they do fail. So that was a huge fear, just to get out of my head. And once I did that, I saw that I was able to flourish a lot more in myself as a woman and in business.
I love that.
Yeah, it's crazy how it can happen.
It is. It really is. And you talked a little bit about when you first decided that becoming your own publishing company was right for you. But how should, our listeners, our readers, or however they're finding us right now, how should people gauge whether or not it's time for them to become a self-published author?
Well, self-publishing is it's in the same realm, but it's a little bit different because there's several things that are going to be different as far as cost, experience, exposure. Those are the key things, in my opinion, that are different than going with a traditional or an independent publisher. How you can gauge that, I would say ask yourself first, why are you writing this book? Because some people write books to, just tell a story to their friends or to really be an expert on something, like when professors write textbooks for their students. So it depends on why you're writing the book. How many people do you actually plan to read this book? So if you want to put a true investment in it, sometimes it can cost thousands of dollars to publish a book. Sometimes it can be $200 to publish a book. It just depends on what that client is looking for, what that person is looking for. So with self-publishing, I would say look at how much you want to invest. So if you're looking to do something at very minimal cost, then self-publishing is probably the best way because you can do a lot of the legwork. Publishing isn't rocket science. So if you're willing to do all the research, figure out how to get everything on like Amazon.com or to get things in bookstores or out to the public, then if you're willing to do the legwork for that, then self-publishing is right for you. If you're looking to gain the experience of having all of that knowledge of how to publish a book, so maybe you can help someone else publish a book, or if you wanted to publish a book in the future to be an easier experience for you, probably a quicker one as well, then self-publishing is right for you. Another thing, the last thing, like I said, was exposure. So when you're self-publishing a book, every person only knows so many people. So you're going to it's much easier to get your book out to, let's say, your 500 Facebook friends. And then let's say the 200 or 300 people you have in your email list. But after that, where do you go?
Right.
So when you're dealing with a publisher, we typically have more networks, more contacts, and we typically have more experience with social media and different outlets that are there for authors. So if you're looking, I think it just boils down to who wants to do the legwork and who wants to actually pay for that convenience. So I typically recommend if someone goes with a traditional or independent publisher first, so that way you see, okay, these are all the things that actually needs to be done, because when you come to companies like mine, we make it more of a personable experience. We set you up with accounts. We say, okay, your book is going to be here, here, and here. And we kind of just try to walk you through everything as we're doing it, so that way in your next project, self-publishing may be the easier route to go and the less expensive route to go as well. So like I said, it just depends on what you're looking for, how much you're willing to invest, and how much work you want to do yourself.
Right. Right. And I'm looking at your website and the very long list of services that you offer, which I know that you, like, and from my experience in working with you, you just have connections and you know the right person to make all these things happen and to just kind of delegate those things on the author's behalf. So it only makes sense to just have somebody that's a professional do it. But we had to have the discussion. Like, I had to play devil's advocate in that regard to really give people the understanding or the difference. And this is also a learning opportunity for me, the difference between self-publishing, independent publishing, and traditional publishing. And I'll never, ever go the self-publishing route. You have a customer for life in me.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
That's all I have to say about that. And then so in this regard, because so many people have a story to tell, and I love your tagline that you have on your website, let me find it, where everyone has the opportunity to be published. What should people be doing in, the next 30, 60 days? Because there are less than 90 days left in 2016 at the time of this recording. So what should people be doing right now to really get ready? If 2017 is going to be their year, to become published, what should they be doing to be ready to work with you?
Right. Okay. Well, I actually love the 30, 60, 90. So I always tell people, treat it like even if you're a man, treat it like a pregnancy. Like, if you decide this is something you're going to do, you have to plan for it to happen because that baby is coming. So, with a lot of, really, it's coming either way. So you have to plan. So you have to plan. You have to make sure you're ready for, let's say in this instance, when those 90 days come, this is going to happen. So what I always think is for the next 30 days, you should come up with a plan. So whatever, in 89 more days, this is what I want to happen. So let me plan for it. So list your goals, even your objectives, obstacles, anything that you think can happen and that can stand in your way, or things that you want to overcome, to just for when your baby gets here, you want to make sure that this is what it's going to look like. So for 60 days, I would say the next 60 days, you should definitely do a lot of research on whatever it is that you want to write about. Or if you want to become an expert in something, just make sure you're doing all of the research to know what it takes to do that and to know what it's like being that. And also, let's see, networking. Networking is important in anything that you do, especially in writing a book, because you want people to be able to know that you wrote a book. So network, meet a lot of new people, join different networks like on social media, or different groups that specialize in the things that you're talking about, or in the industry that you want to join if you're not already in it. For the next 90 days, I would say establish a presence for yourself. We all have, mostly everybody at this point has social media, but some people use it just for their friends and family. Some people talk to random people. Just use it to build a presence for yourself. So, for example, if you're going to be writing a book about rocket science, for example, make sure you have every rocket scientist on your social media. Make sure you're changing your social media to be less personal and more professional, so that people take you seriously. I think a lot of times we make that mistake, or some people make the mistake of putting too much of their personal life out there, and people can judge you or misconstrue what your message is based on the things that you have on your social media pages. So for me, I know let's say I know someone, let's say for you, when I met you, for example, and you wanted to publish a book, I Googled you. So, of course, some of your social media pages came up. So I know, you're a normal person, but you also hold yourself to a certain standard, and people often do that. They do extensive research anytime they want to work with someone or purchase something from someone. So just make sure you're building the proper presence for yourself. I would also say, be recognized, set yourself up to being recognized as an expert in whatever it is that you're talking about. So even if you're writing a nonfiction book or an urban, what are those things called? The urban tales?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right. So even if it's something like that, yeah, it's just writing and you're making up a story, but make sure you're going to be seen as the best person that does that. So when someone says, hey, do you know someone that can write this for me, they'll say your name. So it's just making sure everyone recognizes you for what you're about to become or what you are currently. So just building the credibility for yourself. Other than that, just making sure every step of the way, whether it's in those 30, 60, or 90 days, that you're still continuously going back to your plan. Sometimes, you have to adjust your plan. Sometimes you have to add or take away from it, but make sure you're sticking to it, because at the end of those 90 days, it's coming, it's going to be there, so you have to prepare for it. So those would be my 30, 60, 90s.
Because that baby is coming.
That baby is coming. You got to be able to have it,
I love it. I love it. Well, one of the things that you and I talk about a little bit is time management and all these different ideas that we have. And so you can't see the screen, but for people that are watching, I have on the screen this thing that says 168 hours. And this is probably the only thing that I have in common with Beyonce, but you being out in Houston, so you have a couple things in common with her. But considering that we all have this limited amount of time, what are you doing to create leverage in your business and in your life? I know you're wrapping up school, so how are you managing those things?
Well, like you said, time management is actually the number one thing, because we all get the same amount of time in a day. It's just about how you divide it up. So that's something that I'm constantly working on, because, some days I don't feel like doing certain things. Right. But one thing that you've taught me personally is that you have to time out your day. You have to schedule it out. So if for me, for example, if I wake up, I say, okay, I'm going to be up by 7:30. Then I'm going to work on this, and that for 3 hours each. It's just making sure you provide structure and being strict with that, because, unexpected things happen all the time, but making sure you hit certain points every day. So as far, that's in business and in my personal life, because even though I own a business, I still like to go out and have fun. I still want to make sure I talk to my family and my friends, just make sure I'm still living a life. But as far as adding leverage to my business, some of the things that I have done and am still in the midst of planning is making sure I'm putting my finger in everything writing. So, yes, I am a book publisher and I have a book publishing company, but we don't want to box ourselves in there. So I'm trying to get in different things as far as education, make sure we're publishing not only novels and books in different genres, but that we're also doing textbooks, that we're also making sure we're investing in the younger people. So we're going to start working with some of the school districts here to making sure we're doing initiatives to say that, hey, children can be publishers too, or if you want to write, just making sure if Opportune Publishing is going to be around for the next 70 years, we're investing in the people who may potentially be working for us in, 10, 20, 30, 40 years. Other than that,
really cool.
Yeah, I think education is important, and education is something that's also going to always be here. So whether writing and publishing stops in 10 to 20 years, we're going to make sure, okay, we at least can stay over here where we've invested in education and figure out something that way. So it's just making sure my company is going to be sustainable no matter what happens in the economy or our industry. We're going to always be able to continue to push, even if we have to shift things a little bit.
That is really cool. And I love, like you said, you want to, if you're going to be around for the next 70 years, that you're starting to build relationships and demonstrate value for people now, so that 10, 20 years from now that you have that relationship. And it's so interesting because a part of the Fearless blueprint or the Fearless model, which we know is the foundation, evaluation, analysis, retraining, leverage, and then the next one is the S curve, which is an economic term. And so the S stands for sigmoid, but what you just said about sustainability, like that S could stand for sustainability. So I love that.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
And you actually kind of answered my question that goes with the S-curve or sustainability curve, as we're going to start calling it. But that was what's next for you. What's next for your personal brand, for Opportune Publishing? So outside of what you already shared, is there anything that we should be on the lookout for that we can contribute to?
Yeah, some of the things that we're doing is, first of all, there's Opportune Publishing, but we also have another company, Opportune Services, which is more so for the business side. So if you have we do business construction and also marketing. So with Opportune Publishing, we're a full-service publishing company, but in order to keep the cost down, we do not provide marketing for the books. Right. We provide marketing materials so that you're successful, but not the actual marketing. So that's where Opportune Services comes in, and we're just trying to build a brand. Like, that's the most important thing at this point, and at least for the next 12 months, is to build that up just as much as we have Opportune Publishing, and to make sure one doesn't swallow the other.
Okay.
Other than that, constantly networking, making sure we're still building the brand. I don't want to get complacent. Like, I've had people very recently tell me that they Googled me or my company, and they're like, oh, my gosh, I found all this stuff. And, that makes me happy. I feel like I've done my job thus far, but I don't want to get complacent with that. So I've also had an opportunity recently to be featured in a book called Entrepreneurial Heart, which is a book that was published in Australia. And I want to make sure I continue to build on those abroad networking opportunities to make sure, we're in the United States and we're in Texas, but we want to make sure that we can have clients in all over America, which we do, and internationally as well. But other than that, we're also going to start publishing online courses for professional writing.
Nice.
So that's going to be one of the next major projects.
All right. That is so cool. I wasn't aware of that. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yay. So with that, this whole journey to becoming fearless and to creating these entrepreneurial legacies, we want to make sure that people know how to get in touch and stay in touch. So I have your Twitter, Instagram, Facebook page, your website. Like, I have all these different ways that people can find out about what you're doing, start the whole process of becoming one of your clients and getting their stories out there and becoming those experts that we all are in our own way. So thank you for creating the platforms and the portals that you're doing with Opportune Publishing and Opportune Services. So yay.
Yeah, of course. I appreciate it. If anyone even just to send a simple email, they can also email us at info@opportunepublishing.com. Okay. I'm not sure if you had that up there.
Cool. I have the websites, and I did pull up the contact us page too. So yeah.
Okay, perfect.
So now it's time for the Fearless freebies, and you and I talked about this a little bit. What I'm going to be doing is offering the first chapter of Becoming Fearless, at no cost to anyone that wants it, because I welcome the feedback. And to get that, you can just text BF Chapter 1 to 44222, and you'll see that on the screen in the recording and everything. But Shanley has a really, really cool freebie that I wish I had known about. So I'm glad that I inspired it.
Well, maybe the next one.
Okay.
Yeah, so because of being fearless, we're definitely going to give away a super good freebie. So if you come to Opportune Publishing in any capacity and you publish a book or have us do a re-edition of your book, anything like that, we're going to give you a free ebook format of your book. So typically, if someone wants to publish a paperback or hardback book, we're going to make in addition to that, we're going to give you the free ebook for your clients or your fan base as well. Wow,
that is so cool. Thank you so much for offering that. Thank you. That means a lot. I really appreciate that.
No problem at all. Just mention that we were a fearless person, becoming fearless.
Okay. I love it. We're going to create more of them day by day. So,
right.
Becoming fearless again is just how I have learned to teach people to use their passion, their creativity, their God-given talent as a compass on this journey to entrepreneurial legacy. So I know that you're in the top 5 with me, but that's the Facebook group that's based on this quote that, we're the average of the 5 people that we spend the most time with. So I'm so thankful that we spend so much time together because
I know.
you make my life easier. So thank you for that.
No, you're definitely a huge resource for me, for sure. You're the person that I hit up at least 5 times a week for any business information or, advice. So I appreciate you being helping my average go up as well.
Oh, my goodness. Well, thank you. So just as we wrap up, do you have any parting words, any quotes that you keep close that you want to share?
Maybe just a little bit of advice, which is something that I struggled with at first, helping me become fearless, is just getting out of your own head. I run into a lot of people who have dreams or things that they want to do that they're afraid, and they're not afraid of anyone but themselves. So if there's something you want to do, there's a business you want to start, if you want to go out and sing, whatever it is, just do it. Simply put, just do it. And the time to start is always now.
I love that. Very cool. Well, just in parting, one of my coaches shared with me that the value that we offer to the world is in the transformation that we inspire in others. And Shanley, I just want to thank you for inspiring in us to become and to transform into the experts that we really are, and for creating the platform for us to demonstrate that to the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and wrap up, and I'll check in with you soon.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.